Give you an example. I'm a new business development and sales and production. I studied travel and tourism. My wife is a fine art student. She studied fine arts, and she had her own business with 12 people, successful business in Namibia. So, our studies and what we were doing didn't match up. And fortunately, as I said, I've got a brother-in-law here. He is quite persistent, and we found a way to get in. We found a way to get in, and the way was to bring an innovative product into Australia, a product that's not available here.
I'm Dr. Pieter Viljoen, ex-corporate and academical turned CEO and board member of several companies and mother of 4 little extraordinary kids. But it wasn't that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the know-how, and the time to focus on designing and really going after the life that I so wanted to live. A life of freedom, of fairness, and of being fair dinkum to who I really was and what I wanted to get out of this fleeting time that we have on Mother Earth. Fast forward to many lessons learned and moving halfway around the world to the most amazing country, you'll see the life that I now live. One that gives me more safety and freedom than I ever thought would be possible, and that really only existed as a daydream while I was living in South Africa. I created CHAMONIX TV to give you true spot advice on how you can also live a life in this amazing country, and so that you can see how another couple like us now live in Australia with 4 little kids here in Down Under. And I'll be providing you with step-by-step strategies so that you can make your Aussie dream a reality too. If you're a keen future Aussie who's looking to create a life that excites you and offers you safety, freedom, and opportunity, you have come to the right place, my friend. Welcome aboard.
Before we continue with the episode, I just quickly wanted to jump in here to let you know that Migration Made Easy, which is our signature online course, will be opening its doors very soon again. If you are serious about making your way over to Australia as soon as possible and you want to become a part of the best community on the internet, you want to make sure that you are on our waitlist. www.chamonixtv.com.au/waitlist. And we will teach you everything that you need to know in order to maximize your chances to make it to this amazing country as soon as possible. All right, let's jump into the episode. Hi, Pieter. Thank you so much for joining us today, all the way from Adelaide. How are you?
Thank you, CHAMONIX. Very well, thank you. Enjoying the cold weather, yeah. But yeah, it's lovely. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is an absolute pleasure. And you have, I want to say, you're freshly off. We say the ship, the airship.
Yes.
How long have you guys been in Adelaide for?
So we flew out of South Africa 26th December and we arrived 28th December. Spent 3 days in quarantine and just over New Year. And then, so we've been here since January. Loving it. It's very nice. What we expected, we loved it. It's beautiful.
So how many days in quarantine? 3 days?
We were supposed to be 14 and then it changed and it dropped to like 7 and then it dropped to like 3 and we were just too happy to get out.
Yes. Wow.
We weren't fortunate enough to have a big flat, so we had a small hotel room. Beautiful, and I mean, they looked after us very well. But the window could only open this much, and I'm sure they stopped you from jumping out because eventually after 3 days it's a lot, But yeah, so we were very happy to get out.
Okay, so you came over in December. You've been here for about 6 months. How has your first 6 months treated you? And give us a little bit of an insight of what you're doing here, how you got in with your visa, please.
Okay, so let's start off with once we arrived, we came in the middle of a housing crisis. Yeah, that you just can't get rental properties. It's extremely difficult. And the first 4 weeks, we hopped from Airbnb to Airbnb, which was extremely expensive and also unsettling. But we've managed to secure a rental. We fortunately, we've got family here, so we're staying with family. So we've secured a rental from 1st of February in Brighton which is a beautiful place here in Adelaide, near the beach. And, yeah, we've been to the beach many times. We've hiked a lot here. So yeah, it's been a real blessing for us to be here. But yeah, my road to coming to Australia has been quite a long one. So I started applying in the year 2020, I think it was. I think March, April, started working on applying for a visa to come here. Now, interestingly, we approached 3 agents before with just our normal qualifications, and all 3 of us said, although we've got good qualifications and we're not working in the same area, we won't make it. But so.
But why? Because of your occupations?
Yeah. So to give you an example, I'm a new business development and sales and production. I studied travel and tourism. My wife is a fine art student. She studied fine arts, and she had her own business with 12 people, successful business in Namibia. So our studies and what we were doing didn't match up. And fortunately, as I said, I've got a brother-in-law here. He is quite persistent, and we find a way to get in. We found a way to get in, and the way was to bring an innovative product into Australia, a product that's not available here. So we spoke to an agent here in Adelaide, and the guy helped us. We were back and forth with the business plans, and eventually we submitted a visa application literally a day before I turned 45. Literally a day. I think I could, if it was not even a few hours before I turned 45, the visa was submitted. Wow. Yeah.
And you obviously you work towards getting it in before 45.
Yes, yeah? yes. I mean that was the aim for the agent. I'm not sure why it took us so long to get there, but I had to have an interview with the University of Adelaide. They the guys that are taking care of me, and once they said it's not a problem, we'll accept you. The South Australian government said they're happy, they'll accept me, and then the agent said, okay, now we can apply. So the application went in, like I said, the day before I turned 45, and then we waited. We waited in Namibia till about February 2021. Then I came over to South Africa with my 2 cats. I drove all the way from Namibia. We had to put them in quarantine because that's a different story on its own, taking your animals from Namibia. And Namibia somehow is not recognized by Australia from that point of view. So we had to go to South Africa. And I went to go fetch my wife in April last year. And then with COVID, we could not fly. We were stuck in South Africa. Our visas came through last year, May 2021, but still we couldn't fly. And we traveled around in South Africa, stayed with friends, stayed with family. Eventually we rented a place, and as soon as the restrictions started dropping in December, we booked tickets to come over. And I can even tell you more. I mean, interesting, my visa expired in January. So I flew out in December, knowing that my visa was going to expire in January. But, if you've got a good agent and you speak to the agent, they will help you. So we arrived here in December, January, and then we applied immediately for a new visa, which was granted 10 June, just the other day. My new visa one.
So they put you on a bridging visa in the meantime, is that right?
Yeah, correct, yes. They put us on a bridging visa. So as soon as the application went in 28 January, we were on a bridging visa. So it allows you to work, it allows you to do whatever you need to do. The only difference is that you're not allowed to travel. Well, on our bridging visa, we weren't allowed to travel. So,
outside of Australia, yeah.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
And we went for biometrics, everything here in Australia again. And we got the good news in June. So and the visa's not even a month old yet. It's a 188E visa. It's a 188 entrepreneurial visa.
And that is how long is it valid for?
It's out for 5 years. So basically what I've got to do is I've got 5 years to set up my business here in South Australia specifically. Doesn't necessarily need to be in Adelaide. The conditions aren't that strict, but the most important condition is that you have to be supported by one of the incubators, which I am in Adelaide University. I'm supported by the Think Lab Incubator. There's about 4 incubators in Adelaide, and it has to be in an innovation stream, in a product that's not available, and it has to be in specific industry. You know, they won't allow you to come and open up franchise, or they won't allow you to come and open up takeaway dinner. You know, they don't want that.
Yeah, it needs to be something new that nobody else has done before.
Correct, yes. So my product, I'll just briefly touch on my product. I don't want to mention too much about it. My product is a product that was developed in South Africa, and it's in the green energy space, and it's aimed at construction. The guy actually, Fani Meetling, is in Cape Town, and he's the guy that invented the product. So yeah, my samples arrived today, so I'm ready to rock and roll and get it up and running.
That's awesome. So what are you expected to do in terms of your visa and with this incubation? So Fani is in Cape Town, you're here. What do you have to do with those products? You have to show something to Adelaide University? Well,
what I have to do is what they want us to do with the South Australian innovation is they want to create and boost employment in Australia for South Australia, for South Australians. So I have to start up a business, which the product I'm going to manufacture here. That's the ultimate goal, is to manufacture it here from scratch and employ South Australians. I have to do a specific amount of turnover every year. There's a turnover amount that's linked to it, and the incubator program has to support you all the way. So you have to constantly time with them. You know, I go into the university maybe twice a week. Sometimes they're going the whole week, depending on what needs to be done. You know, the meetings and stuff that they schedule for us. But yeah, so the rules on the visa is, I think you have to employ 2 or 3 Australians, or 2 eligible visa holders in South Australia. Your business has to be in South Australia, and turnover-wise, there's also a component. Yeah.
Okay. And what does the university support you with? I know it's an incubator stream. So do they give you how to set up a business, or how to, because I know your background is in business development, as you said earlier. So you obviously know how to do that. You know how to develop a business. What do they do? How do they support you specifically? Like what kind of input do they have?
Well, yeah, I must say I'm quite amazed with the way that they do it here in Australia. There seems to be a thriving community of entrepreneurs here, and they want you to succeed. They actually help you to succeed. So we've got they've got accountants that they set us up with to help us, you know, to explain us, you know, how the business structure works here in Australia. You know, that's different to Namibia or South Africa for that matter. They've got lawyers, you know, if you need to put your product in patent, you know, they've got lawyers to help you with that. If you've got digital marketing needs, they've got somebody that can do it like that. If there's public speaking that needs to be done, they've got somebody supporting you there. And then they've got mentors. So they've got successful business people that's currently in business that take time off. And these guys come, they book an hour or 2 hour sessions with you, and we go through the business, we plan, see where we are at the moment with the business, what needs to be done. They give their input, I give my input, and we work together to try to make it a success. That's ultimately what they want. They want me to succeed here, and they want to help me.
That is absolutely what I have been finding as well in my time in Australia, is that, well, the government or things like this, well, the state government or the federal government, they and sometimes local governments too, they have so many programs in place to try and help people on their feet and contribute to the economy, so that you can look after yourself and then also look after the economy, of course, in return.
I mean, that's how it should be, you know. For me, you know, we all want to succeed. You know, I'm not here to I'm here to make, to make money. That's what I'm here to do, to create a better life. But I'm here to make money. But they want you to make a success of it. And and I think that's the mindset change that caught my attention. And immediately that everybody is supportive, everybody helps you, but they leave you alone. They don't push you. Which is quite nice. It's not like they sit on you every day. What's going on with you? They check on you, once in a while, but obviously you have to be there. You have to show them that you are making progress.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got 5 years, and then they reassess. And then what happens after the 5 years? Let's say you have been successful in ticking those boxes. What then?
So I have got 4 years. I have to be here 4 years. Once I'm here 4 years and I've ticked the boxes, I can then apply for a permanent
residency.
Yeah, it's this visa. The 4-8 CISA visa that I came over initially did not have a pathway to residency, and that was explained to me prior to me arriving here. But we took the chance. That's what we did. We took the chance. I knew what was going to happen, and we just believe that things will work out, which it has. So once I'm 4 years and I've ticked the boxes, I can get permanent residency. I believe there is maybe a even shortened version, if somebody buys the business for a set amount of money. But it's just keep it like that. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you decided on the product and how you approached Adelaide University. How did you find that match, and why South Australia?
Okay, so the product, we were approached. Well, I was approached in Namibia already about the product as a possibility in Namibia because of the ample sun that's there. It's permanently sunny, and but I keep on saying I pushed it to the background. And when my brother-in-law said to me, look, we need to look at a product, this was the product that we decided to look at because of A, it's being innovative, and B, it's not available. So we chose Adelaide. I chose Adelaide because I've got a support structure here, firstly. So I've got my brother-in-law and my wife's sisters, which is very important for us. They are arts people, which is great. One of my best friends live here. So, I've immediately just stepped in. I've got a friend, I've got family, and that helps a lot. Plus, from an export point of view, for me, Adelaide, the port is right close by. The export process is not difficult. And my product is aimed at natural light and aimed at the wine industry, and there's lots of wine farms around this area, and so that's why Adelaide was an obvious choice for us. And the way we approached it is that once we submitted our interest to the South Australian government, they returned back to us by saying, okay, they gave me 6 options. And said, look, these are the 6 guys you can approach to help you. And my agent actually said to me, look, he thinks I need to do this University of Adelaide. This is the person that I need to speak to. They put me in contact with the lady, very nice lady. I had to, a very stressful meeting for me. I had to sit up, it was 5 o'clock in the morning in South Africa, and or in Namibia for that matter, with coffee and tea and everything, and I had to have a Zoom meeting with them, explaining to them the product, what it's about, and after a while they said no problem. I submitted my business plan as well. They had a look at it, and then they said
to the university directly,
to the Incubator program. Yes, I think that yes,
which is part of the university.
Yes, correct. Yes. It's part of the university. Correct.
Okay, that's very interesting. So as a part of your visa application, the visa department, the immigration department, or South Australia, suggested to you who to contact.
Yeah. So they gave 6 options. There's 6 incubators in Adelaide.
Right.
So there's a company called Hubble as well. I haven't looked at the others yet, but they all work in different areas. So I know Hubble works a lot in the space industry and the technology industry. There's one or two that looks after the agricultural industry. Interestingly enough, the University of Adelaide has also got a part that looks after agriculture as well, especially on the wine side. I can't 100% remember how it came about that I had to chat to them, but it was either the university, the South Australian government that said, look, you need to speak to the university, or it was the agent that said, this is the person, speak to this person. And that was my biggest hurdle to overcome in the initial phases, was to get them to support me. Once they've supported me, everything. Yeah, even once I arrived here in December or in January, and I phoned up the agent, I said, look, I'm here. And the agent said, okay, you need to speak to the university. They need to support you again. And I spoke to the lady at the university, and she said, oh, we forgot that you were coming. And I said, well, I'm here. Visa's expiring at the end of the month. So no problem. We'll sort it out for you quickly. And it was quick.
Wow.
And they managed to sort it out for me. A lot of money, but they sorted it out for me.
Yeah. Well, as you say, it's absolutely worth it, because it's your ticket in, and you made a plan. And I always say it, the boer maak 'n plan. Like, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes.
And then sometimes people look at me, but how? And you're like living proof that even though initially, as you said, a couple of agents said to you, sorry, Pieter, you're not going to make it. You're like, no, I'm going to find a way. And I was the same. When I initially looked at my options of coming to Australia, I realized that I wasn't eligible to apply for a normal skilled migration visa. So I had to find another plan. Yeah. So my plan became, coming to Australia as a student and then studying here and qualifying here. You find your way, which is great, because I believe there is a way if you really put your heart at it. And sometimes it's not easy.
Yes.
Like, you guys came under a lot of risk in a way, if you say that was it, because you didn't have permanent residency. I came as a student. There was no guarantee at the end of my 2 years of study that I would be able to get permanent residency.
Correct.
So yes, it's and just tell me a little bit about the visa and the age. So you had to be under 45 for that, because I know some visas, especially in the innovation category and the global skilled talented visa, they allow you sometimes to be a bit older.
Yeah, so the 408 visa, the initial visa, was 45. That was the cut. 45, that's why we pushed so hard. The visa that I'm on now, which is the 188E visa, entrepreneurial, that is, I think, up until 55. It's a similar, it's part of the 188 visa, the business innovation and investment visa. That applications have now closed. I'm not sure. I saw that it closed in this June or end of May. I'm not sure if it was only open for a specific period of time, because when I applied for the 408, the university said to me that they're looking at a pathway, and this visa, the 408, didn't have the pathway to residency. And she made it adamantly clear so that I understood. But she also mentioned in the same breath that the South Australian government was looking at an alternative option to get it to a permanent pathway, and this was obviously the permanent pathway. There wasn't a lot of people that came over on this visa. I think I've met one South African that's came over on the same visa, and so there's not a lot of people that's come over it, and there won't be a lot of people, I believe, that will come over on it. And they monitor it very closely. But it's not impossible. It is possible.
It is possible, absolutely. And Australia is definitely getting more pro supporting entrepreneurs and innovation, because it's the knowledge economy. And Australia realizes that machines can replace some kind of occupations, but it can't quite. We have artificial intelligence, I know, but it can't quite replace what you're doing at the moment with being an incubator for this product. And then you also have another person that came with you, the other half of your family unit. Tell us a little bit about Celeste.
So my wife, she ran a successful business, as I said, in Namibia. And, when we came over here, we've both been on sabbatical for almost a year or close to a year. So, she just said to me, look, she doesn't want a tough job. She just wants an easy job. She doesn't want to deal with staff. She's tired of staff. And she applied for a few jobs. Everybody said to us, it's difficult, it's going to take you 7 months to get a job. So, it took her 3 weeks or 4 weeks to get two or three job offerings. And the one that she said she wanted to do property. She's a property stylist at a company. So they do home staging for people. And that's what she wanted to do. And that's the job she got. So, which was quite amazing. There's so much opportunity here. If you're willing to work, if you're willing to put in the hours, you can literally do what you want to do. But
you just need to get in the door first.
Precisely. Yeah. So she's, so she's got a 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 job at the moment. I'm still, back and forth between university.
You're being a student, man. You're enjoying your time.
Well,
you have a surfboard?
No, not all the time. There's homework to do as well. So I do a lot of cleaning and sometimes make some dinner as well. We try and help each other. So she's also enjoying it. It's not always easy. Immigration is a difficult process.
Yeah.
And when we immigrated from South Africa to Namibia, it's easier because Namibia's got the same culture as you. I always say it's the braai, the boerewors, biltong, beer. That's all there. You come here, it's different. So if you have a support network like we've got, it makes it easier. It's not. The difficult time is just now. You just need to now get into the motions, settle, make sure everything is right, get the money in, make sure that all the car insurances is done, all those things are done. And once that's done, it's good. It's all wrong.
Bob's your uncle, as they say. Yeah.
And there's a lot of South Africans in Adelaide, and we've met quite a few of them. I've joined a golf group where we play once a month golf at a different location. It's nice. You meet different people. So if you put yourself out there, you'll meet people.
Yes, no, absolutely. Well, as I said to you earlier, just before we got online officially, you guys have had like a trial migration when you went from South Africa to Namibia, just to get yourself ready to do the proper migration over the ditch. This time you went all over the water to come halfway around the world. What's been the big difference for you between moving to Namibia and moving to Australia? You just mentioned about culture, but was there other things as well that was really obviously different for you?
Well, Namibia, once again, if I 4 o'clock in the morning, get in the car and I drive, I can still make Cape Town in the evening, So, if there was a problem with a family and all that, I could get on a plane and go.
Yeah.
Once we moved to Australia, we kind of had to put that out of our mind, saying that, you can't just go home for any reason, and we don't want to, but we've got family there. And if there's something, if something happens to them, you need to be ready at all times. So that was one of the big adjustments we had to make. And as well, there's minor cultural differences here. Obviously the oaks braai with charcoal. There's some people that braai with wood, but so you'd have to get used to something like that. And speaking the English language the whole time, that's also takes some adjustment.
But it sounds like you speak it very deliciously.
Very deliciously.
Right.
And everybody is going on about IELTS and IELTS. And I mean, we both did IELTS, my wife and I. And for the visa, they asked me for the IELTS. Obviously, I had it. So, but I think it's only the family that's the main difference. But apart from that, we're happy.
And tell us a little bit about your 2 furry children that you brought over. I know that they weren't born in South Africa, they were born in Namibia. So your Namibian furry friends or children that you brought over, how did that process work for you? Because there's a little bit of a twist involved there.
Very much. That was quite a complicated process for us, from seeing that we were from Namibia. We started the whole process in Namibia, doing all the rabies tests and all the TTREG tests and all those things. And then they told us, no, you have to come to South Africa to do it there. And we said, but can't we send the blood off? And they said, no, you need to bring the cats. We need to take the blood and then send it off. So that's why I went 2 months prior to my wife. And it's I've worked it out. I've tried to help a few people. I think it cost me, and I don't know if I can say it, but it cost me about 55,000 rand per cat.
Wow.
To get them, yeah. But we didn't stay in Johannesburg. We had to put our cats in kennel as soon as we left. So there was about 21 days of kenneling in there as well. As
soon as you came to Australia, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Right.
So we actually put them in 24 December. And they traveled all around with us to all the places. And then once the time came and we booked our flights and we had to fly, we booked them in 24 December. They were in the kennel till about 10, 12 January. And we had an agent dealing with that part of kenneling and booking it in quarantine this side. And then we had somebody that were looking after the flights as well for us. They booked them on Singapore Airlines, so they flew in Singapore, Joburg, Singapore, I think it was Melbourne. And then they spent 2 weeks in Melbourne, where they were treated like royalty. They were really looked after very well. And we went to go fetch them in Melbourne and drove down.
And they were nice and fat.
Very much. Very much. I don't know if it's the vet send us an email as soon as they arrived. It said, look, the one cat is Roxy. She's a bit small and tender. Is that how she's normally? He said, no, don't worry. That's who she is. They're beautiful. We're very glad we brought them over. We will do it again. It's people love animals here in Australia. They love dogs. I don't see a lot of cats, but people love animals here.
Yeah, well, because people go and walk with their dogs much more. That's why you see them outside. So to get around the Namibia issue of not being a recognized country for you to bring your animals to Australia, you had to have them in South Africa for 6 months. Is that right?
Not 6 months. I had to get them, because remember we were planning to fly out in April last year. So I came down in February. I think it's 6 weeks. 6 weeks that they had to be there for the blood test. So you have to they get, I think it's T3 blood tests that they take, and they send it to Onderstepoort or somewhere like that. And once that comes back and it says, okay, no, the cats are clean, then they can submit the paperwork to Australia. We've done all the necessary injections. They've had all the injections since we've had them. So that was all on par. It's only I had to bring them in so that they can have those tests done prior, but not 6 months. There's no quarantine or no specific time. It was just, and even I took them in. The vet just drew the blood, and we took them home, and they stayed with me in Pretoria until we got the results back.
Okay, so as long as, because I'm trying to think, if somebody else lived in Namibia, for example, or Zimbabwe, or I don't know, I can't remember all the countries that's not recognized that can bring your animals in. What would they have to do? Do they just literally have to take the animal to, say, South Africa and have the tests done there, and then would that be sufficient? Or how do you prove where your animal is from?
So the vet that we dealt with, or the whole immigration pet agency, if I can call it like that, they insisted that the pets come to them and the blood gets drawn there. I tried to bypass the system like we do in South Africa and Namibia to try and see if I can't get a vet across the border to help me. But no, none of them, they all said, no, it has to go to that vet. So that's what we did. And it's not all the countries. I think it's just you need to make sure that your country is recognized by Australia as a valid country. I don't say valid country, but a country for importing.
There are different categories. That's right.
Yes. Yeah. And Namibia, unfortunately, isn't 400. I don't know what other African countries look like. But yeah, so that's why I had to go down. I had to go do it beforehand.
Well, that's great, because it meant that, it worked for you, and the cats could come with you.
Yes.
So you guys came January, and your cats, when did they arrive in Australia?
They arrived about, I think they arrived about the 14th or 15th of January.
Just shortly after you.
Yes.
Okay, so you weren't apart for too long.
Yes, and then they were in quarantine in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yes. So
how hard?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, so we had the boxes and everything made. So the boxes were all in South Africa. They have specific boxes that has to be made for them to travel in, and sizes. But the guys with the travel agency or the pet travel agency helped us, and they explained it and sorted that out for us.
So when you initially got your cats, you hadn't had a house that you were renting yet. So where did you stay with your cats? Did you stay at your family?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. So we moved into the place in, I think it was the first week in February. So we spent a weekend in Melbourne. Since we were there, we decided, spend a weekend in Melbourne. We rented a flat there, or a hotel room. They've got one floor specifically only for animals in Melbourne at this specific hotel. Beautiful, very nice. So I was up to in my hair. Nobody wanted to take animals, and we found this place. I found them on the internet, and I said, look, I want to come with the weekend and stay there, but I've got 2 cats. And I said, no problem. Bring your cats, bring your dogs. The whole floor was full of animals, but you never heard or seen them unless somebody walks with them down the aisle. And so we stayed there with the cats for about 3 or 4 days, and then we stayed in the Airbnb for about 2 or 3 days with the cats, which was also very difficult just before we moved in.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So it's a normal looking hotel, and you just take your animals with.
Yeah, I think it's 5 or 6 floors. It's the first floor that's animal friendly. I would recommend that to everybody. It just takes the stress off you. And then the floors 2 to 6, I think, is normal. And it was a big apartment. It had washing machine, tumble dryers, everything that works. So. And you just need to make sure that for the cats, if you move them outside in the corridors, that they had to be in their containers. But people were walking with their dogs outside, so that was.
So you guys brought your cats, and it's just you and Celeste. Did you bring a container with stuff?
Yes, I did bring a container with stuff.
Have you received it yet?
So that's a story on its own, but we did the container. We packed up our house in Namibia in January 2021. Put it in storage in Namibia, and it waited there till December. So it waited there for a whole year. And December, the guys came to pick it up. It went to South Africa. South Africa, they loaded it up. And I think it left in February. It was delayed for a few months. But we didn't have anything in any case. So, we just kept on buying new clothes, new shoes, because you didn't have any.
Yeah.
And it arrived here in, I think in May. Interesting, and a note for the other people listening: don't bring in your weed eaters. Don't bring in your lawnmower. Don't bring that. I cleaned it myself. I promised my wife I cleaned it. Obviously not good enough, because that was detained. It cost me $750 Australian dollars to get it cleaned. They couldn't destroy it. If it was destroyed, it would cost me $1,500.
So you might as well get it clean. It's like the most expensive lawnmower ever. And what it probably cost you $100 originally to buy it.
Actually, so, but that's how you learn. But we're happy. I think the process went pretty well. I mean, except for the fact that we were delayed, which delayed the container. The container would have been here long before us, but we stopped it because, it doesn't help our stuff that goes to Australia and we stuck in South Africa.
Yeah. So how was it to unpack everything after so many, I want to say years almost?
Yeah, it's almost, I think it was a year and 4 or 5 months. It's like unpacking a Smartie box. You just presents the whole time. I do remember. Oh, we had this. Oh, look at this. Nice thing is we bought extra stuff, new stuff when we before we left Namibia. Stuff like, you would buy extra socks or extra jeans or something like that. And then nothing happened. They all came through. Everything was in good condition. We got 1 or 2 things that broke, nothing serious. It was mainly personal stuff, clothes. We brought over a few ornaments and that. But yeah, looking back, I'm not sure if I'll do it again the same way. I don't know. Things here in Australia work different. You can find a lot of things on Marketplace. A lot of things are going great prices. I brought bicycles. I would have just left my bicycles. Bicycles here is almost for free. You can just, unless you've got an exceptionally good bicycle, something that. But I mean, but I think it's a personal choice. It's a personal choice.
And what has been the best thing so far for you about living in Australia? I know it's been a few months, but please tell me, how have you found it?
Sure. So, we love hiking, my wife and I. So we hike a lot. We hiked a lot in South Africa as well, and in the time that we were there and in Namibia. So we do a lot of hiking here. And what I liked about that is, you go with your cell phone, whatever it is, your wallet. We hike for 10 Ks. We stop here at Brighton Beach when it was sunny in February and March and April. You just put everything on the beach, go into the water, and we spend a half an hour on the water. And nobody needs to stay behind to look after the stuff. I put my money there. I put my cell phone there. I just leave it. And when you come back, it's still there. So definitely from that point of view, the safety point of view, that's a big bonus for us. And we love the Adelaide. Adelaide's a smaller city compared to I think where you stay, or Perth, or so it helps us. It works for us. We prefer the smaller cities. So yeah, it's there's a lot to do here. A lot of the nice things in South Australia are for free. We went to Mount Gambier the other day. And we looked at a few beautiful places and tourist attractions in Mount Gambier. Well, I think you go to Europe, you'll pay for it. Here, it's for free.
The blue hole. Did you see the blue hole?
Yes. I mean, it's for free. So, some of and people have said it before, some of the best things to do in Australia are for free. You go to the hiking, they've got the most beautiful hiking places here that they've created specifically for Australians. I mean, I can't get around the fact that they have all these barbecue places. Every little community has got their own barbecue spot, and it's a playground for children, and you can just go and barbecue, and it's there, and it's working.
Clean. It's clean. And that's right, and it's working. And you switch it on, and there's gas that comes out.
So, that's unheard of for us. That's what we're looking for. That is what we wanted.
Would you do it again if you had to?
Yes, no, by all means. There's no doubt. For sure, I'll do it again. We actually looked at Australia before we moved to Namibia. And, we decided on Namibia for the family point of view. But now, the family, my brother lives in Denmark. My sister lives in Amsterdam. I'm here. So, I think in this day and age, we're all over the world. So, yeah, I'll do it again in a heartbeat. Maybe just a bit sooner, though.
Not one day before 45.
It's been a yes.
Hey, but at least you did it before 45. It could have been one day before 50, and then So now, well done.
It's the hard work at last now. Now we need to make sure that, we tick all the boxes. We do everything that needs to be done, and
But you have the opportunity, and I think that's the important part. It's not that you have to do it. You get to do it. And that's a really important thing to remind yourself when the going gets tough. It's like, hey, Pieter, if I were to be still in Namibia, I would think, if only I had the opportunity. Now you get to do it, which is amazing. So
Correct, yes. Another thing, sorry, that I'm just thinking about, what I also love about Adelaide, which is unheard of in South Africa, just for us to take the train here from Brighton, take the train in at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night. We go have dinner and drinks in the city. I mean, can you believe it? The city. 10 o'clock at night, you still walk in the city at 10 o'clock at night, and you come out to the train and you get on.
You're not looking over your shoulder all the time, thinking who's gonna, grab my stuff at the back.
Precisely, and there are families with children, and they're all enjoying the city. And I mean, those are quality times. It's quality times.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's been really great to hear how you've come in with a special visa, because it's not, as you say, and it's not every day that we hear of people coming in on that visa. But I do think that is a category that's underexplored by a lot of people who want to come to Australia, especially people who are in the business sort of area, business development, maybe sales, anybody with that kind of background. I hope that your story will encourage those kind of people to think outside of the box. Don't just go with whatever, tick the box. Like, think outside of that ticking the box and create your own box.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure, Pieter, and you guys take care. I hope in 3 years' time you'll be online here telling us about how amazingly well your business has grown here in Australia.
It will. Thank you very much, Alex. I appreciate the time.
It's a pleasure. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching today's episode. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you want to find your dream life faster and land your Aussie job sooner, Migration Made Easy, our signature online course, is the place to be for you. Hop onto chamonixtv.com.au/waitlist to make sure that you know when our doors do open the next time. Thanks for coming back each week, and I hope you hit the subscribe button so that you are notified whenever we have a new episode. All right, my friend, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. If you had fun, please remember to hit that subscribe button, and then it'll make sure that you never miss a thing. I'll see you same time and same place next week. Bye for now.